It's got cold. The last week or so, the temperatures have really dropped here in the UK, and it's bloody cold. But it's sunny. Look at it. Look. It is sunny, so I will take that. You know, it could be cold and raining. It's not, it's cold and sunny, so that's okay. It's okay. And it is beautiful to be out here on this sunny morning with the dogs. There they are, a good sniff, enjoying themselves, on the lookout for people to bark at. So as I was out walking this morning, I was thinking about just how disconnected we seem to have become in this supposed age of connectivity, that it just blows my mind that we seem to have come to think of ourselves as something separate from nature. There's us, and then there's nature. And a lot of people have little connection with this thing that we call nature. Guys, we are nature. We are an integral part of this world, but only part of it, you know, small part of it. And I can see how this sense of disconnect has come about, because a lot of people spend much of their lives completely in man-made environments. I mean, technically, this is a man-made environment. It's farmland. It's not completely wild. It's not wilderness. But what I mean is most people spend a lot of their lives in towns, in cities, inside buildings. And when I spend, just watching the birds, when I spend too much time in these kinds of environments, which I try not to do because they completely overwhelm me and I know how they affect me negatively, I do feel that sense of separation. I feel separate from the world. And I spent a lot of my life feeling separate from the world. Like a completely separate entity. Like, this is me, that's the world out there. And I don't feel that anymore. And I particularly am liberated from that sense of separateness when I am out, away from man-made environments, when I am in the peace and quiet of the countryside. And I know that, so I make sure that that is the environment that I spend the majority of my time in. But yeah, I mean, I completely understand that in the way that we currently have society organised, that for a lot of people, it's not an option. They need to be, oh, look, ice. They have to be in towns and in cities, because as far as they can see, that's the only way you can make money and to live. We don't have to organise society this way. We can do it differently, but we all have to agree to do it differently. That's difficult. So in lieu of that, look at those berries, aren't they? Look. Beautiful. You can't really see it that well. Yeah, I think people need to spend more time in natural environments. And we need to understand the importance of that, because this disconnection from nature means that we don't value it. We don't value our natural world. We don't understand our part in it. And if that continues, we are going to destroy ourselves. I really think so. So I keep on saying about how yoga is more than asana. Yoga is more than the physical practice that we've come to think of as yoga. And I'm just going to talk very briefly now about what yoga actually is. It's going to be very brief because I could talk for hours, and in future videos I will elaborate on it more. But the true purpose of yoga is to liberate us from this sense of separateness. Yoga is not a religion. It is a way of being that allows us to feel that our sense of consciousness is one with the whole, with with what yoga terms the universal consciousness. And in yoga, it is said that consciousness is a primary. Not matter. We don't have matter, we don't have human beings, and somehow magically that consciousness arises out of matter. We take that for granted, but when you think about it, it's actually, why is that any more believable than the fact that consciousness is primary? Matter is an expression of consciousness. We are consciousness exploring itself. But when you're out in our natural environment, that doesn't become hard to believe. It's not hard to believe. It can be difficult to believe when we are surrounded by the man-made environment. So yoga, the method of yoga, aims to quieten our mind. When we can quieten our mind, we can exist in that pure consciousness which is what we actually are. All these things we think of as ourselves, not ourselves. We are pure consciousness. And that consciousness is just an expression of the universal consciousness that is primary. And I'm just going to leave you at that, to ponder that. And in future videos, I will elaborate on it further. But for now, I'm just going to continue walking the dogs. Have a lovely day, guys.